Something special.
Hi friends, welcome back or welcome to Friends in High Places podcast. I got Cole back on the pod.
Oh, we in here, baby. Guess who's back?
No, you can't do that.
Right.
I already did that with Tommy.
Oh, it's exclusive to Tommy then, is it? Okay.
Well, no, it's just, that was already my joke.
I know,
You can't just do it again.
Okay.
So, yep, Cole's back this week. I'm actually going to give you guys 2 episodes this week because I fucked up last week and I lost track of time. I was just really busy with my other business, with just life in general, and I didn't prioritize my time properly. I was like a day behind all week. So, I thought this week I'd give you guys 2 episodes, and Cole and I are going to dive into questions and confessions again. You guys are going to hear from me and Lacey. Sorry, we have our cat Luna jumping around.
I feel like we almost don't even have to say it anymore. It should just be expected that Luna's going to be
I know, but
us.
I still have to mention it because I just feel awkward about
No, I know.
background noise and stuff.
That's nice that you're giving everybody 2 episodes, though.
Yeah, I thought everyone deserved it because, like I said, I flailed and fucked up last week. So, there's Bella.
It's kind of like how on my Merc Monday I said I wasn't going to drop one, and then
And then
still
you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he tried to make me feel better about not having a podcast episode ready. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not doing a Merc Monday. Like, it's all good, babe. Things happen." And then last minute he's like, "So I'm dropping a song." I was like, "Oh fuck!" Now I feel so bad for not having something, but I don't want to rush it either. I don't want to just throw together an episode just because I flailed.
For sure. And with this one, we already had planned to get to the part 2 of the questions and confessions that we got last time because there were so many that we couldn't even fit them all in one episode.
Yeah, but it's not parts because we're doing this every other week.
I know.
We've already talked about this.
A little bit of tension in the air today, ladies and gentlemen.
There's no tension at all. Cole just says things that I'm like, we already talked about this, that it's a thing.
In one ear and out the other, I know.
Sometimes.
Most of the time. Right?
That's a male, yeah.
Oh, it's a male. Okay. Let's break it down to just a whole gender thing.
Okay. Chill. Now it's getting too much.
I'm just joking, babe.
But anyway, so yeah, unfortunately the last week was flail and busy and just all over the place. Don't really have much else to say but that.
So, I don't know if it's like the universe right now or what, but I feel like a lot of people that have been just stuck at home with nothing to do suddenly became busy lately. Like it feels like whether it's my friends or family that I speak to, it feels like everybody's just doing something. And I think it's great because obviously for mental health and things like that, it's important that you keep yourself busy during a time where you can't really do much.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like a universe thing, I feel like, where everybody's just kind of been busy. And I think that you got hit with it really hard. I got hit with it really hard. And time just kind of got away from us, as it does for everybody. But I'm happy that everybody's trying to find ways to keep themselves busy and stay distracted from everything going on in the world right now. But I don't know. It's just, I felt like I should mention it because I just really noticed that everyone's extra busy lately.
Well, and your mom and I were just talking it's a new moon now, so hopefully that means we all get to start off with a clean slate here and continue our whatever goals and ambitions that we've set. And everyone just kind of went through a little bit of a messy couple weeks there, but also it's getting nice out again, so people start getting busy and get more ambitious to do things. And but
it's also getting dark later too, which I think people's days are getting away from them because they're like, oh, it's still sunny outside, and they don't realize that it's 7-8 o'clock in the
100%.
afternoon because they're so used to it getting dark early. You know what I mean? So I think that has a lot to do with it too. But it's definitely been super, super nice out where we live. So when it comes to the new moon, I have a question. I'm not sure if you can answer this or not. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the new moon, does that mean that everybody goes through changes, or is that to specific signs?
Well, it's in specific planets and signs sometimes, but really, I get really affected because I am a moon child, right? So that's why I always feel it super heavy. And being a Cancer is what classifies you as a moon child? Yeah. Okay. And, but I mean, I feel like everybody feels the tension during a full moon, new moon kind of thing. And Honestly, I'm still learning. Your mom always teaches me like
Yeah,
what
Mom.
planets it's in
My
and
mom's
what's
got
going
full-blown
on.
books about this stuff, and she'll tell me all the time, like, "Oh, just so you know, today is a 3-day or a 4-day," and I'm like, "Okay, well, what does that entail?
Yeah,
What
with
does that mean?"
numerology.
And I didn't used to believe in these things because I was young and just young and cocky and thought I knew everything about the world. But a lot of the information she gives me when she says, like, "Be careful today and look out for this on this day because this day is a whatever number day." I don't really know how all the numerology works, but a lot of the advice that she's given me has actually been super solid. And there's a lot of times where she'll warn me about something before it happens, much like when I speak to like mediums and stuff like that. I feel like just anything spiritual like that kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, well, and especially with like astrology, and like in the new moons and full moons and stuff, it's all about where the planets are placed and
Yeah.
all of that. There's a lot to it, and like I said, I'm still learning about it.
For sure.
So.
I feel like it's one of those things that you're never going to have all the info on. Like you're just constantly
learning. Yeah, for sure. And I follow like astrology pages and stuff like that, so they really keep me informed on when like the full moons and the new moons and what planets are, or sorry, not what planets, what signs are going to be really affected and what signs it's in and everything like that. So yeah, I'm not the best to give the answers on all
Oh,
that.
it's okay, man. I know that you know more than me still, whether or not you're the best to give the answers. And yeah, that's why I ask, because I know that full moons affect certain signs more than others. Mm-hmm. And it's like kind of an interesting thing like that. Speaking of which, it was crazy because Mom sent me my horoscope the other day.
Yeah.
And it said that you might have issues or like be worried about a pet. And here we were worried about Luna because Luna was kind of acting out of sorts. Yeah, I meant to mention it to you. I know I hadn't, but this was like when we were still gone, before we got home, and you were telling me what was going on. But yeah, it was just kind of crazy. I didn't even think about that until now. But
that's
just
really
goes
crazy.
to show what like a prime example of your horoscope and like the energies and stuff going together. So what if anybody's curious? Our cat Luna, our kitty Luna here was acting kind of just out of sorts, and we were like, why is her energy weird? Why is she not as like cuddly as she usually is? Why is she almost seemed like she was drunk. She was like,
yeah, she was just like really standoffish. She honestly to me seemed like she was like depressed and like stressed and anxious, and I honestly have no idea what it was. Like we've mentioned on here many times, like these cats follow me around everywhere, and all of a sudden she was like
your personal bodyguards from home.
Yeah, and all of a sudden she was like nowhere to be seen for like a few days. And I mean, I did end up finding her in our theater room, but she doesn't go and hang out there often. And it's weird for a full day to go by of me like doing stuff around the house and whatnot, and her not be around me and at my feet or sitting on the couch next to me while I work or whatever. So it was really strange, and that kind of also threw me off this week too. Like just a bunch of weird stuff happened this week that I was like a ball of anxiety this week.
No, for sure. I was in a lot of ways too, to be honest. And like I'm not going to say who because it doesn't matter, but I was like arguing with certain people that I never argue with.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like everybody's tensions were high in a lot of ways. And it was just one of those interesting weeks where you can't just really put your finger on like even what's bothering you half the time. It just feels like you just kind of have this pit in your stomach. You don't know why it's there. You don't know how it got there. You just have that feeling. And that's the thing when it comes to spiritual stuff like that. Like, it's almost like trusting your gut and just understanding, okay, the world is like this right now. The moons are like this. Or I'll get over this, I'm sure, and this feeling will eventually disappear. Yeah. But at least I know why I feel like this. You know what I mean? And with me being a Libra, they say that we're all about balance. And I definitely agree with that because, like, I hate confrontation. When there's confrontation, whether I think I'm right or I'm wrong, I try to just get it out of the way and just make it not a thing because I just hate it so much. Yeah. Which is like why Libras, they say, are so much about balance. And like I said, just a weird week for sure for everybody. I feel like if anybody in the comments wants to tell us about their week and if they felt like it was kind of off for them too, feel free to share.
Yeah, let us know how the new moon affected you.
Yeah,
because we had a pretty fucked up, weird ass week, that's for sure. And Luna's doing better. We took her to the vet. There was nothing physically wrong with her. He did all the tests he could do without like actually putting her in x-rays and stuff like that. And he said she seems very physically healthy, so just keep monitoring her. And so that's what we're doing. And yeah, send us some good thoughts towards Luna. And I'm thinking her mental health, honestly, when it comes down to it. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's all I can really tie it in together is it's something.
She's definitely come back to like herself in a lot of ways, but we're still going to monitor her.
Yeah.
Like the doctor asked, speaking of good thoughts, this is kind of random and off pace, but I just want to say congratulations to our friends C. Lance and Anna for getting their first home.
Yeah, congratulations, guys.
Super stoked for them. So
Yeah.
they had a good week. I'm
Yeah.
hoping.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been working hard.
yeah.
Like very hard to find a new home, and they deserve it. So it's so awesome, and yeah, can't wait to come visit you guys when it's safe to do so again.
For sure, totally.
And
I
it'll be
think
awesome.
everybody recognizes the name C. Lance. For those of you that don't know, he's the one that produces the majority of my music. And I always say that the music producers don't get enough credit because they're not really the ones in the spotlight. They're the ones doing the background hard work, like just like NATO and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
So shout out to all the producers and beat makers and everybody doing all the stuff behind the scenes. And yeah, congratulations on your guys' first home.
Yep, 100%. Love you guys. Miss you guys.
They're from Boston. C. Lance loves his Tim Hortons too. He's always complaining that they don't have them out there.
Yeah, because Anna is Canadian.
Yeah, she is.
She is from Vancouver.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
So cool. So awesome. And yeah, that's funny that he likes Tim Hortons. It's
yeah,
good.
for sure. Should we get into some questions and answers or
Yeah.
any confessions?
Yeah. I was going to see if you wanted to quickly talk about how you got vaccinated.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually blessed enough to be able to get my vaccination. It's the first of 2 needles that I'll be getting. And with that being said, I was blessed enough to get the Pfizer the day that I went. I say blessed because people tell me that apparently Pfizer is the best one. It's the most effective one. So I went and got it done. It was pretty painless for me. I mean, it was just like any other needle. Got it done. There was a few side effects that they tell you you're going to experience. Not everybody does. Some do, some don't. But the effects, the side effects are much like they say the effects of COVID. Like you feel tired, maybe a little bit nauseous. You can develop a cough and things like that. I just had a little bit of pain in my arm. I felt a little bit nauseous. I felt a little bit tired and more fatigued than usual. But I feel fine. And the reason why I was able to get mine so early, being a younger person, is because I'm actually... I'm Métis, so I was able to use my status, and my status is what got me in there early. And yeah, just super blessed to be able to get in there early and get it done. My father as well got it done. My grandfather as well got it done, and mom's about to get hers. So
Yeah. I thought I'd just bring it up. So I know a lot of people are wanting to hear people's experience and stuff. So I thought it'd be cool if we kind of shared what your vaccination experience was. I know it can be a controversial subject, so I'm not bringing it up to start the whole anti-vacciners or pro-vacciners. It's just more of like or Cole's personal experience. So if you are wondering about it, then you could kind of hear how it went, because even myself, I'm not anti-vaccine, but I am a little bit nervous about this vaccine. It does make me a little nervous to put it in my body, but with Cole getting it and him doing
your crash
good.
dummy? I'm just joking.
No, it just kind of made me feel a little bit more
sure.
okay with it. And that's kind of like what COVID's been like, even in general for me. The more like I have closer to home experiences with it, it's like, okay, you know what? Like, this thing is a scary virus, but it's not as scary as, you know, it felt like at the beginning. And, you know, younger people were lucky that we are strong enough and can fight through it. And
statistics show us things that we start to realize.
Yeah,
more.
exactly. And so I just kind of feel the same way about the vaccine. And then also one pair of my grandparents got it, and they just had a really sore arm, but no other symptoms or side effects. So that's good. And yeah, I mean, when my time comes, I'm sure I will be ready to do so.
Yeah, Papa said he didn't even get the sore arm.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Yeah, a lot of people have zero side effects
Yeah.
and symptoms, so that's great. And
yeah, it's definitely a controversial thing. Like you said, people can be anti-vaccine, they can be pro-vaccine, but at the end of the day, I'm happy I got mine, and
and just do what you feel is right for you.
Yeah,
if you don't want to get it, don't get it. If you do.
We don't need you guys arguing in the comments about the vaccine.
No arguments, please. I don't want any negative comments.
One more thing I'd like to mention, if it's okay, if I can take the stage for a sec, before we get into the more questions, answers, and confessions.
Yeah.
Is I just want to say rest in peace to DMX. Super, super sad situation, a very unfortunate situation. Definitely not somebody that I expected to lose at that age. I feel like I'm speaking for everybody when I say that. And yeah, it's a really upsetting thing. I'm very, very blessed and honored to be able to say that I had done a song with him and that I have a song with him in my catalog. And just rest in peace to DMX. Thank you for everything you did for hip hop in general, for the culture, for paving the way for guys like me. You can probably hear in my style that DMX is somebody who influenced that grimy, raspy style that I've had for years, and that's not something I'm ever scared to admit. So thank you for everything you've done. Prayers to your family.
Yes.
And DMX forever. So
yeah, 100%. Rest in peace. Sending love and condolences and prayers to your family and friends and loved ones. And legends never die.
Yeah, 100%. All dogs go to heaven.
Very true. Big facts.
Dana messaged me to give me her condolences and said that to me.
Aww.
Yeah, so shout out to Dana, my cousin. All right, we got lots of questions here. We got some confessions here. We got to get into these. So, I mean, some are funny, some are savage. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah. Here we go.
Let's start with Merkley sucks. But then they said Merkley. They said Merkley sucks. And it's like, if you're going to have an opinion and somebody sucks, you should at least be able to say or spell their name.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, fuck them. Pull up with that energy. I'll give you that smoke.
Stop it.
I'm just kidding.
Enough. Moving on.
Somebody said I pooped my pants today.
Oh.
I'm going to let you take
I don't like that word.
How do you feel about that person pooping their pants?
I mean, that's unfortunate for you.
I bet it was moist.
Ew, gross. So
I know all these words that trigger Carissa that she hates, such as moist. Anything about pooping, anything about moist, you combine the two and it's game over.
When it comes to kids and animals, the P word doesn't bother me. That's normal, but like an adult saying it really grosses me out and makes me cringe.
It's crazy how you can control it by context like that.
It's right. And then same with moist. If you're talking about baking, that is that makes sense. But when you're other kind of ways, it makes me cringe and gives me the heebie-jeebies. So there's certain words that I just don't like.
She literally cringed while she said that.
Yeah, I'm cringing right now.
Like her body seized up while she was explaining it.
Anyways, that's unfortunate for that person, and let's move on.
I actually know that person personally, and I've pooped my pants too.
I have never. Story? I mean, if you want to share it, go for it.
Let's get greasy. I'm not even ashamed. It is what it is. So one time I was out back at our place and I was having a cigarette, and Chris was on the phone with some friends, and I was on the phone with some of my friends, and we both were just in separate phone calls, and I walked outside. And I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but you know when you have your first cigarette of the day, for the people who do smoke cigarettes, it's coffee, caffeine, and your first cigarette. So your first coffee, first cigarette of the day, I find it always makes me have to shit. It just is what it is.
Okay, but this was at 9 o'clock at night.
I know, but it was my first smoke of the day.
Okay, fair.
But I'm just saying there's things that trigger me, and that's just whatever.
Yeah, I think that's normal.
So I had to smoke, and I think I even had a hoot, which I don't usually do. When I say hoot, I smoked a little bit of weed, and I started coughing, and I knew I had to fart, but I coughed so uncontrollably that I shit myself a little bit. And Carissa was so fucking involved in her phone call with her friends that I literally just hung up on my friends. And then I walk inside, and I'm 1-2 stepping, half limping past her while she's on the couch.
No, but you first came into the door and you mouthed it to me that you shit your pants.
But you didn't pick up.
I thought you were making a comment about, I don't even know what I thought. And I was like, oh yeah, because I'm in a heated conversation with my girlfriend, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was super nonchalant to you, and you didn't understand, which is fine. It's not like I was asking you to go grab me some TP.
No.
I just knew I had to beeline it to the bathroom. And then I like started like fucking crip walking to the bathroom, and then I got there and
I'm in my own little world, no idea.
Yeah, and then I got there, I
did your thing,
did my duty, got rid of the dirty undies, jumped in the shower, and it was like nothing ever happened. But listen, just
then he told me later on, he was like, so
about that earlier.
Yeah, I shit my pants, and I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, when I came running in from the back door, and I was like, oh, I
wasn't
didn't
quite
even...
running, but I think I did say I was running to you. But yeah, I was like just
you said you. Anyways, it was funny,
and my buddies found out later on, and they thought it was pretty fucking awesome too. So
Tommy laughed pretty hard. She's like, what? Yeah, apparently Cole just shit his pants, and I just nonchalantly was like, oh yeah, when he mouthed it to me.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've shat my pants. I'm going to be honest. I think it happens to everybody at least once in life, and that's not saying that you have to admit it's happened to you. I'm sure it has. You're probably lying straight to my face.
When I was a baby.
My friend Evil Ebenezer, I'm going to put him on blast.
No, we're not doing this.
This video already exists on YouTube. So Evil,
my God.
Most of you guys know who Evil is. He's my best friend, but he used to have a backpack that he'd bring on tour.
Oh my God, why are we talking about this
and
right now?
People are going to love this.
No,
so there's this little zipper on the top of his backpack. You know how you have that little zipper on the top?
Evil.
And he used to call it his shark compartment, because when he would get too greasy on tour, whether he was super hungover and had the Rhea or whatever it was, he would just take his dirty undies and put them in his shark compartment.
Okay, so the thing with Evil, though, is he has IBS. I'm pretty sure he said, or like he has
he
like...
Does?
Yeah, like he has a hard time like with
shit,
his tummy. Yeah, so it's not like he just does that. He like his tummy gets upset very easily, and so
he was promoting his shark compartment though. Like there's videos on YouTube of him talking about it in interviews, so he's not ashamed.
I don't think he's ashamed, but I think it's not something we need to put on blast. If he wants to talk about it, okay, but we shouldn't be putting him on blast.
Well, it's out there now.
Yeah, because he has a sensitive tummy. Anyways, sorry, Evil. We love you, and just know that
sorry,
I didn't
Erica,
want to.
too.
Yeah, sorry, Erica. Oh my God. Okay.
Moving on though.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, who's each of your guys' favorite independent rappers, excluding yourself? So in other words, you can't say me, and I can't say me, even though I'm one cocky motherfucker. I just can't say me. So, who are some of your favorite rappers, like of all time? I'm assuming that's what he's asking. Or it could be current to right now, like that you're just into right now.
Many, but I mean Eminem, of course.
Yeah.
50 Cent, of course. I mean, I say of course because you and I are fans
Yeah.
of 50 Cent, not because everyone should just assume that. But I also really enjoyed Lil Peep.
Yeah, for sure.
Busta Rhymes, Tech Nine. I'm like blanking right now. I just like went into a vortex.
It's hard because people always ask me to my top 5.
Yeah, it's hard.
And in interviews, I've said like, my top 5 is this, and then I'll say 2 years later in a different interview, my top 5 is this, and it's different every time.
Yeah.
There's just so much talent that it's hard to
for sure.
really pinpoint.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've been a big fan of Tech Nine for a really long time. He's definitely on my top list for sure. I really enjoy Hobson as well. He's definitely up there. I really like Snow the Product.
You alluding towards something here?
No, I'm not. I'm just thinking.
Rumor has it I'm dropping a song with Hobson, Tech Nine, and Snow the Product coming soon.
Oh my gosh.
Continue though. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I know. I think that's like a good few name drops there.
For sure. And I think it's always cool that you mentioned Lil Peep, because even though, I mean, he was classified as a rapper, I feel like he kind of had like his own genre within rap that he started. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's always been like an emo edge and to like sad rap and stuff like that. And what do they call it? Like even cloud rap, some people would refer to it as.
Yeah.
But I think that his music just had such a crazy twist on it that everybody else kind of started following afterwards. There's records that I have that are out that were inspired by Lil Peep, you know what I mean? And I think that he kind of changed the game a little bit. Not even a little bit, a lot in a lot of ways. And I think that he definitely was slept on. I mean, he got his just due. It sucks that when people pass away, all of a sudden everybody loves them. But at the same time, like I think that even to this day, he's slept on to me. Like I think he was just somebody really special and really special to the culture. So rest in peace, Pete, for sure.
Yeah.
As far as I go, he kind of knocked it over the head for me. A lot of people are always surprised when I mention Drake, though. A lot of my fans are like, "How could you? Like, Drake is like the epitome
How did
of
I
mainstream."
not say Drake?
No, it's okay. But like you said, babe, there's just so many people, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard to keep track. But
Sorry.
for me, I have to put Drake in that conversation because, and it's not even biased to him being Canadian. I mean, obviously, I appreciate what he's done for Canadian music in general, not just rap. But I just think that when you look at his career and just the way that he's managed to stay relevant for such a long time, and the records that he's broken, and the music that he makes, a lot of people don't really appreciate Drake as much as they should for the bars that he has. A lot of people just consider him an R&B pop singer, which is fine, because if you look at his hits, a lot of them are that. But I challenge people to go listen to songs like Omerta and songs like Diplomatic Immunity. And if you really break the lyrics down on those records, you'll start to realize that as a rapper, Drake is actually fucking incredible. So shout out to Drake. But yeah, no, 50 Cent is definitely up there for me, which is funny that you mentioned that, because I feel like I've influenced you to think that too, because you've always loved M, but I think I kind of like...
I loved 50 too, though. When I was younger,
Did you? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
I listened to 50. I bought his albums and stuff, yeah. I've always been a fan of 50 Cent.
Remember when 50 Cent and Kanye had the war over who would sell the most albums?
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
no.
I was Team 50, 100%.
I mean, Kanye's incredible as a producer, but I like him more as a producer than a rapper. That's not to take away from his stuff. People might get mad at me for that. Whatever. Fuck yeah.
Bring back the old Kanye. Just kidding. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Make Kanye young again. So yeah, definitely a lot of the names you mentioned, I grew up on a lot of artists too, like Brother Lynch Hung is somebody that I grew up listening very closely to, as well as X-Rated. I listened to a lot of Nipsey. I listened to a lot of Lil Peep, as you mentioned. Scarface, I think, is one of the most best storytelling rappers of all time. Busta Rhymes, I agree, is definitely up there for me. I could literally have this conversation for the whole episode.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna cut it there.
But yeah.
And then I'm gonna listen to this later. I'm gonna kick myself in the ass because there's gonna be a lot of names that I'm like, I should have fucking mentioned them.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I went into that vortex, because I was like, whoa, why can't I
It's just such a loaded question, right?
It is, and it also I don't know, it just kind of depends on the mood you're in too when you're thinking about it, and because there are so many names that you can just miss, and it's like, how the fuck did I miss that? I've been listening to them for years.
That person was a part of a certain 3-year period of my life, and I just
completely forgot about it.
I'm already thinking of people like Ludacris.
Yeah. 100%.
That guy was a huge part of my childhood.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Thank you for the loaded question.
Yeah.
I'd say your name, but we promise not to say any names.
No.
Here's a good one. A book that you found influential. You like reading a lot more than I do, so I figured I'd let you answer that. Let you. It's your podcast. What am I talking about?
Influential. Okay, so I've read... I haven't read a lot of books in my life, but I do like to read, and I've went through periods in my life where I really like to read. So there's one book when I was younger. It was called... oh my god, now I'm blanking.
It's okay. Books are just like artists. There's so many of them.
Holy shit, why could I not think of what it... My mom introduced this book to me, and it was about a boy. It was actually a man who wrote a story about his childhood. And anyways, he was abused as a child, and he wrote out all the ways his mom abused him and his upbringing. And I was probably 12 when I read this. No, not even. Maybe even 11. And it was just pretty crazy to me, because it kind of opened my eyes to what kind of people there are in the world. And I was very young, but it was it was very crazy. And it was a series. And The Boy Called It. That is what it's called. The Boy Called It. And,
I knew it was going to kick in eventually.
Yeah, and so he wrote, I think it was 3 or 4 books about it. And I just read that series in no time, because I was just holy shit, there's people out there that treat their children like this and treat other human beings like this. And then I also read a book called Trafficked, and it was about human trafficking, and that was really crazy, because I obviously knew about human trafficking. I was actually an adult when I read this, but it was a woman's story, personal story of being pulled into becoming a prostitute, and it was very crazy. And when I was reading it, she was talking about all the countries she was taken to work, and it was all over Europe. And Cole and I were actually in Europe when I was reading this book. And
just talk about timing.
Yeah, and at one point it
Guys,
was like,
she would literally be sitting with me, and we would go from one place to the other on airplanes, obviously going city to city, country to country for shows, or on a bus, whatever, what have you. But we'll be sitting there, and she would just like poke me on the leg, and I'd look over, and she'd say, "Babe, look at that girl over there. Do you think she's stolen?" And I'm like, don't get me wrong, like, before, I'm not trying to make this a funny thing, but I was like, no, babe, like, I could tell that the book was really starting to get to you. And this is a very big problem all over the world, and it happens everywhere. Yeah. But I had to be like, babe, that person looks like they're going about their day fine. I don't think that person has been kidnapped.
Yeah,
you know
which I knew at this point in my life, I knew human trafficking was a thing. I knew all about it, but to read this person's personal experience, this woman's personal experience, and her saying the things that this guy did to trick her into this lifestyle and like capture her and take her identity. Just both these books really opened up my eyes to like people's personal experiences and being like, holy fuck, can you imagine? Mm-hmm. And there's so many people out there
like this who happened to a person.
Exactly. And then it just kind of starts opening up your eyes when you see a parent treat a kid a certain way. It's like, whoa, if you're doing that out in public, what are you doing behind closed doors? You see a girl and she flinches, or she kind of seems like she's in rough shape, and a guy is very present in her life, and I don't know, you get that feeling. It's like, is he controlling her? Yeah. Exactly. So I've read a lot of books that have really influenced me, but those two are big ones that stand out to me because they just really opened up my eyes to people's personal experiences in these certain situations that just like really pulled on my heartstrings.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I don't really do much reading, to be honest. I want to actually get on that and start reading more. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would really influence my music if I read more books. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it would just, as an artist, kind of like level me up a bit. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing wrong with more knowledge. Yeah. But one book that I read, I don't remember the exact name of the book, but it was basically like a biography on the rapper Scarface, who I'd actually just mentioned. Mm-hmm. And before we even get there, shout out to Scarface for beating COVID, and I'm glad that you're okay. Yes. And just one of, like I said, one of my favorite rappers. But Nato, my engineer, gave me this book that was basically like a biography on his life, and just the ups and downs, the do's and don'ts that he had to go through in the industry in his early years. And obviously, don't get me wrong, this is at a time where things are so much vastly different now than they were at that time. Yeah. But it was still a huge eye-opening book for me, and there's a lot of knowledge that I got from that book that I still live by and I think about to this day, whether it's me making a decision of who I'm going to work with or who I surround myself with, good or bad. It's just kind of, it was another teaching moment for me too, reading that book. And I remember like very vividly, I was on a plane, I can't remember where I was going, but I remember I read it and it kind of just changed my whole outlook and aspect on the business behind the music, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And understanding that some people are going to be in your life for a little bit and not everybody's meant to stick around forever, and just a lot of really cool things that I learned in it. And it was scary for me at the time because I was like, oh shit, I got to be wary of all this, and this is the industry and blah blah blah. Yeah. But super helpful. I'm sure, like I said, I don't have the exact name off by heart right now, but if anybody just Googles the book, I'm sure you can just, the rapper Scarface, the biography on his life, I'm sure you can find it. But shout out to Nato for hooking me up with that book. Like I said, not much of a reader, but that one definitely did something for me. So shout out to him.
My mom's sending me, shout out to him for sure. My mom's sending me a book right now that has to do with Saskatoon, where I grew up, and I'm pretty sure it's called the Starlight Tour, or
something to that effect.
I might be wrong, yes, but okay. It's about how the police force, there was people in the police force in Saskatoon that would pick up Aboriginals that were walking alone at night and take them out to the middle of nowhere and leave them. And a boy almost froze to death. And it's a very, very, there's a bunch of stories in it, and my mom is sending it to me, and I'm going to read it.
Say, fuck the police.
Yeah, and I think that one's going to be a really big influence on me because I am Métis as well. That's where I was born. That's my hometown. That's where all my family is. And it's really heartbreaking to know that that kind of shit was going on. And my mom was very devastated to learn about this.
It's also been a huge problem all over Canada.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Especially in the city of Vancouver as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's super crazy. So if I got the name of that book wrong, I will correct it. And if you're interested in reading about any of these types of stories that Cole and I just mentioned, definitely give these books a read and look them up because they're really good.
And on that last topic too, like I think that I know that you and I have spoke off air about this a lot of times, but I'm like definitely stoked to see that you're using your platform to kind of talk more about that. I'm sure you'll talk more about it in the future after you read it, but yeah, definitely something that's just not talked about enough.
No.
And fuck those police, and I hope they all die a slow, horrible death.
Yeah, and they are. Yeah, we'll talk more about it on another episode.
That's fine. Yeah. We don't got to get too deep into it.
Yeah.
Somebody says, I once shot a man in Reno. And at first I'm like, this guy's snitching on himself. But then I was like, no, that's Johnny Cash for some prison blues. So you thought you were slick. We're on to you. Here's one. It's kind of an interesting question. This is probably a very loaded question as well.
Ruh-roh.
I got my answer already, I'll be honest, because
Okay.
I've seen these and saved these. But what's the one thing you wished you had from your childhood that you don't have? Oh, okay. So he's asking that different. I thought he was saying what's something you wish you had in your childhood. He's saying what's something
you had in your
you
childhood
had that you don't have
that
now.
you wish you had.
I got my answer for that.
Okay, you
Should I
go
first.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I originally thought he was asking me what's something I wished I had as a child. That would have been a sibling, whether it's a brother or a sister. I just always, I loved, there was benefits to being an only child, but I also kind of wished that I had a sibling growing up. My parents did an amazing job raising me, and they were always there for me, but I always missed having that, brotherly or sisterly advice, or just someone to either look up to or somebody to help raise, you know what I mean, in a sense. So that's definitely that. But as far as something that I had as a child that I don't have now, this is kind of a loaded thing too, but no fear. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, you don't really, you just have answer. this thing about you where you're just not scared, and you just wake up every day and you just face the day with no fear.
Yeah.
And as good as that can be, it can also be terrible. I always say that with my anxiety, my mental health, if I didn't have it, I probably would have put myself in a lot of really fucked up situations, because my anxiety makes me overthink things before I do them.
Yeah.
But I also I can't lie, I miss having that sense of just no fear, and just going out there and just diving
no
head
fear,
first.
no insecurities, no so true, just that free spirit and that
and not
free
realizing
mind
how
of,
shitty the world is.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Me too. I would definitely.
We can share the same answer.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that.
Somebody says, does Carissa miss Red Deer? Red Deer, Alberta, bitches.
No.
Spell what up?
Oh my god. I miss all my family and friends for sure, but I do not miss Red Deer. Had my time there. It was a okay time there, but it definitely wasn't the place for me. Yeah. No, but I miss everyone there, and I love you all.
And I'm sure you're appreciative of all the things growing up there taught you. And
100%. I learned a lot. I grew a lot there. Like I said, it was a good home for me for a good period of time, but it definitely just wasn't where I wanted to settle.
Let's just say we miss a lot of the people that still currently live in Red Deer, but there's most of what comes with being in Red Deer we don't miss.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, somebody says, for Cole, when did you start to feel the fame kicking in? And for Carissa, when did you start feeling the fame kicking in for him? I'll say that, and I've said this before, but I think that when I first really started doing the remix thing, I started doing car bars first, which was just me sitting in a car. I think we've even spoke about this maybe on the pod before, but I used to just sit in a car and rap over classic instrumentals, but people couldn't really listen to that all the way through as if they were listening to a song. It was listenable, it was cool for one watch, but a lot of people were like, hey, I want this on my playlist. So I started recording them in actual studios, doing the video behind it. The Shape of You and the Chester Bennington tribute that I did were the first ones to really, really take off, I feel like, as well as Panda. And it wasn't until I dropped those that I started realizing that I was getting stopped all the time in public by people. Yeah. People were trying to take photos with me. I was labeled at that time as the remix guy, which I loved then. I don't so much now because I feel like people overlook the original stuff that we do. But for me, that was definitely the first time when people were walking up to me, asking me for photos and like really like trying to like be around me and get their stuff signed. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And this is like the support that I've been wishing I had my entire life. And I think the defining moment as far as someone walking up to me that really hit me hard was when like an old grandma walked up to me and asked me for a photo with her and then a signature on behalf of their grandchild who she said loved me. And that was when I was like, okay, old ladies are coming up to me now. This formula is working and we're finally getting out there.
Yeah. I would say definitely like Shape of You, the remix times, that definitely was when it started to hit me about
it just so happened to be about your cute little ass.
Stop it. About how well known you were getting. But like honestly, since like the first time I heard Cole's music, I knew Cole would be like a legend. Like I knew.
Babe, that's a huge statement. Thank you.
Well,
so
no,
much.
But it's for real. Like it's honest.
I love you so
honestly,
much.
like I don't know what it was, but when I heard Cole's music for the first few times, I was like, holy fuck, this guy is going to be big. Like this guy is going to blow up.
Thanks,
and like he's gonna mark this world, and like people are gonna know him for decades and decades. And yeah, so like I kind of always just knew Cole was going to be as big as he is, and just as much as he continues to grow, kind of thing. It's just never been a second guess in my head. And that was before we were even together. That's when I was just like listening to him as an artist kind of thing. But yeah, being a part of the journey and being a part of this ride, definitely when the remixes were coming out and his numbers were just like jumping and jumping and jumping. And it was like, holy fuck, this is taking off like real fucking quick. Like this is crazy. But again, even when it came to the remixes.
I'm blessed that we were on that roller coaster together though.
Yeah, and even when it came to the remixes, like you were so like hesitant about them, and I was like, listen to your gut, do it, because people are gonna fucking love this.
Yeah.
And you did it, and it was
thank you, babe.
Crazy.
That was quite the compliment. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and I love you so much.
Just speaking from the heart. I love you too.
I know. Sealand says, and I'm only saying Sealand. I know we're not supposed to say who, but it's Sealand, so I'm just
God.
It's my bro, just like we did with Brie on the last
I know,
episode.
but we're not supposed to.
Family's family.
True.
What's the one thing about each other that drives you absolutely nuts?
Oh dear, we're getting into that.
Well, this chick over here, I don't know. I'm actually trying to think about something.
As if he probably has like a million things in his head right now. He
Can I guess what yours are?
Okay.
Taking things out and not putting them back, whether that be condiments, plates, whatever.
Yeah.
Like right now when we sat down to record this podcast, you're like, why is there a fork on the table? Because she's been complaining that she can't find the forks and that we have a shortage on forks at our house. And I told her, I'm like, oh, I couldn't find any because I genuinely looked for some. But then all of a sudden we sit down to record and there's a fork that we were looking for. So I think that's probably one of them for you, right?
Yeah.
If there's any more you'd feel like sharing, feel free.
Oh my gosh.
We really hit a fork in the road in our relationship here, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I grew up in a pretty tight household where it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope she doesn't say strict because I don't think it was strict.
It was just like you pick up after yourself, and like my parents never cared about like what my room looked like. Like if my room was a disaster, they were like, "Well, you got to fucking live in that. That's your space." Exactly.
Make your bed, lay in it.
Exactly, but you know, I got that really engraved in me growing up. Like, you don't leave your shit around the house. You pick up after yourself. Once you're done eating your food, wherever it may be in the house, you bring your dishes back to the kitchen and put them in the sink or mainly dishwasher. But Cole and I were raised very differently, and he was an only child, and you know, like it's just things that you learn as you get older.
Yeah.
So,
which kind of goes back to what I just said about like having a sibling or something like that. I probably wouldn't have been as spoiled as only child and would have learned other things if I had a sibling, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And yeah, so I'd say definitely Dishes are a big thing to me. Like, it's just my OCD that,
And let's
like...
make it clear, it's not like I never put my dishes away.
No. Yeah,
But,
no,
like...
he definitely does. Like, he brings them and puts them in the sink a lot. But they're just... It did just so happen today that I have been asking him
That's why I got
where
brought
all
up
the
first.
forks are. Because I'm just so confused on how we...
My biggest pet peeve about Carissa is she still to this day won't admit that she farts. Everybody farts. But she just...
gosh, that's a silly one.
To this day,
that's
just
ridiculous.
won't admit that she farts.
It's not that I won't admit it. It's just I'm not vocal about it because it's just,
So you gotta own those kind of things, you know?
Anyways, that's not something that bugs you the most about me.
One thing that she does a lot that fucking absolutely pisses me off and drives me crazy is she'll, knowing that her hands and feet are freezing, just fucking, and I'll be like warm, like cooped up under the covers, and this chick will just fucking put her ice cold feet like right on my arm or my leg, or her hands on me, and like it just like stuns me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, it drives me insane.
I'm not the only one who does that.
No, I feel like
there's
most couples
many,
deal with that.
Yes, exactly.
But I do think that your hands and feet get colder than the average person.
Yeah, they do. My feet are actually freezing right now, and I'm wearing socks.
Well, keep them the fuck away from me. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like, there's not anything specific that's like a personality trait that I can think of that like.
He's not gonna say on the podcast.
No, straight up. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I think the things that bug me and the things that I do that bug you are more so things that like just like silly things, whether it's like putting something away or it's like you fucking doing that, and like just obviously there's things that we work on ourselves that therefore better our relationship, but like I don't think that it's like something super specific, you know what I mean?
But like my OCD doesn't bother you?
Well, that's the thing is like, first of all, I respect the fact that you just even admitted like that's something that you deal with. I have my anxiety and my mental health. I think that as much as it can be bothersome to us dealing with one another's like anxieties or mental health, at the same time we've kind of like succumbed to a point where, like, does that make sense? I don't know, kind of like succumbed to a point where it's like we've been around it for so long now that we understand it. We know that it's probably going to be a part of our lives forever.
Well, we did talk about that when we had our separation time. You know, like I straight up said to Cole, like, look, this is my mental health struggle, and it's something that I'm going to be struggling with probably for the rest of my life. I'm learning my triggers every single day. I'm learning how to get through it. And same with him and his anxiety. It's the same too, you know. He has different triggers, and even though we're not on tour, because touring, there was a lot of triggers on tour for his anxiety. Even just during this pandemic, he's had anxious moments and anxious days and stuff, and we're still learning our triggers. We all have. So
when I say all, I don't mean just you and I. I feel like everybody's been at a peak anxiety.
But I mean virus aside.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I know what you mean.
And no, I agree, but I do know that it can be overwhelming because my OCD anxiety like takes over me sometimes. So that's a lot to handle.
It's just like when I'm anxious and I'm like having a bad time and I'm having like trying not to have a panic attack, and then people will ask me, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, just leave me alone, and I like shut those people out. Of course that's bothersome for those people, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, the mental health struggles that we have make us who we are, and it's part of who we are. And there's good and there's bad that comes with it. Like I said, if I wasn't anxious, I wouldn't think twice about things, and I'd make a lot of bad decisions. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in your situation, when it comes to your OCD, like there's a lot of things that you would think about now with your OCD that you wouldn't think about if you didn't have it. And there's a lot of things that you'd be like, oh, well, I wish I would have done that. But your OCD is constantly reminding you to do those things. You know what I mean? There's good things, there's bad things about it, but at the end of the day, it makes us who we are. And that's something that we've obviously both come to accept about each other. So I wouldn't classify them as things that are like, just like so annoying. And it's like, how dare you do that? You know what I mean? Right. Besides the silly things that we had already mentioned.
Yeah, true.
Which I'm sure there's hundreds more of, but you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah. You know what I did notice though? Because people do know about this. The whole Q-tip thing that you do.
Oh, it's fucking bad, I know.
Yeah, but actually, like, I've been noticing it isn't that bad these days.
Oh, thanks, babe. I appreciate that. Well, that's because I have one bathroom in our house that has all the Q-tips in it.
And I don't enter.
It's the one bathroom you don't ever go in, number one. Number two, there's also, like, my own little garbage can there. So It's like
yeah, it's good though. Because before I'd find them like in the fucking kitchen, in the living room.
I would just hit Q-tips and leave them out. It was the worst.
Yeah, and
I have a friend Stewie who literally chews gum and just fucking sticks it in random places. And I feel like my Q-tip habit is like a couple steps away from being as bad as that, but like just weird, quirky things that everybody does.
You've done good with that by keeping it into your in the one bathroom. Like that's good. That's really good progress.
I know it just sounds like I'm like a 5-year-old or something.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just. Anyways, that's one thing I noticed that you've definitely.
No, well, I appreciate you noticing the improvement. But yeah, I feel like we got through most of the questions and answers and confessions. I think maybe even all of them. Yeah, I told you I had 12 specifically for today.
Yeah, but I feel like we just did questions.
No, we knocked them all out.
There wasn't confessions.
Well, I mean, Buddy shot a guy in Reno, but
that's not the truth. Well, okay.
There wasn't much confessions. Let me double check here, but like.
Well, it's fine. No, that's fine.
Oh, we have one last confession. I wish I didn't have my dad's last name. I hate him and everything he stands for. We don't talk. That can be a really tough thing. I can't imagine what that's like for you. That was one of the last confessions that I'd seen. But I understand that carrying somebody's last name that you may not respect or be around or consider a part of your life must be very annoying to you. I can't give you any advice because I've never been there. I don't know what that's like for you, but just know that at the end of the day, you're your own person, and the title that was given to you that just so happens to be your last name doesn't define who you are as a person by yourself, with or without that person in your life.
Yeah.
That was pretty on point.
That was really on point.
But no, it's not that we're laughing at your situation.
No,
like
not
I
at
totally.
All. That was just like a really good.
No, but I'm serious though. Like I totally. Thank you, babe. But I totally understand that. Like that's something that like it probably feels like just like a rain cloud over your head all the time because people call you that, and it's part of who you are in a sense because it was given to you. But just know that it doesn't define who you are as a person.
I agree.
But yeah, I think I do actually have one more question too. Somebody asked, "What's our favorite memory together?" So, I know we have a lot. I don't know where to start and where to finish with this question because it's also loaded. I don't know how many times I've said loaded question on this episode, but another loaded question for sure. We've just had so many. You know what I
mean? Yeah, there has been a lot. I'm going to say a couple of my favorite memories.
Okay.
One was when we were in Greece for the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
And we spent that day on the rooftop.
That was like honestly the best day.
That was cool. Got me fucking shit faced.
Absolutely.
And that's not the reason why it was the best day, but it was a really good like sporadic fun day we had together.
It was just you and I, and it was like also your like you were finally in Greece, which is a place that you'd always wanted to be. We had a day off, you know what I mean? Like it was just everything about that day kind of worked out.
Yeah, there was a rooftop pool. Our hotel was gorgeous.
That food was amazing.
Delicious food.
The drinks were amazing too.
Yeah, we had this really cute bartender that she just like all day, like Cole and I went up to the rooftop I think around like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm going to go sit in the sun. I'm going to go like into the pool, whatever. And Cole's like, yeah, I'll meet you up there. And so Cole came up probably like a half an hour later and we had some food. And then, Cole started ordering us drinks and he made the deal with this bartender, like, don't let her have an empty glass and make them all the yummiest drinks. So she made me like all these delicious like mojitos and stuff. But she was so cute. Like she kept giving us food and like bringing me out snacks and water because we'd been in the sun all day, drinking all day. Like literally, I don't think
alcohol and heat combined gets you fucked up.
Yeah, and we ended up having supper up there and they gave us a free dessert because we were tipping them so good. Right, yeah. Like we stayed up there. I stayed up there.
They were blown away by the tips too, I remember.
Yeah, 11 a.m. And then I think it was like 8 p.m. We finally went back down to our room and passed the fuck out. Like passed out. Woke up in the middle of the night like so drunk still.
Oh yeah.
And we got the munchies and he went and got munchies and then we had to catch a flight the next morning at like 6 a.m. It was crazy, but that was a really good memory. And
I love that day too.
Yeah, that was a really good one. And when we did the Osridge Hotel in Calgary for Valentine's Day a few years ago. That was really nice.
Sure.
Yeah, that place was so gorgeous, and we got to try some new things together, and it was a pretty bougie time. We had a bougie little getaway together, and it was really, really nice. We got in-room massages. It was really fun. We got really dressed up, and also
the island trip that we did too, when we went and had that hotel. And we had that amazing jacuzzi together.
The Crown Isle.
At the Crown Isle, yeah. I was trying to think of the name. That was also
that was the first time we'd been there, and they had all the Christmas lights and stuff. Yeah, sure. We had the jacuzzi.
And as cheesy and cliche as it sounds, I'm going to say one of my favorite moments too was obviously the first day that we actually met in person after talking for so long. But just that first and second day, because you managed to get the next day off work and then came with me to my next show. And I think that whole entire 2-day span was really, really special for me. I know it was special for you. And I think that just talking to somebody all the time and getting to know them and finally getting a chance to meet them and being nervous and the butterflies that you have in your stomach and the should I do this and should I not do that, you know what I mean, just everything that goes on in your mind. It's just I don't know, that was a really special time for me. And I still remember going all the way out and getting the fucking limo and being that guy because I thought I had to be when I couldn't even really afford it.
Researching the best restaurant in Red Deer.
The best restaurants and getting reservations, and then you walking out to the limo, us literally locking eyes for the first time ever in real life, your mom out the window. I look in the window and Michelle, we love you.
You didn't see it.
No, I did. I could definitely see her a little bit in the corner of the window. 100%, babe. I swear. I promise you. But Michelle taking photos of you walking out to the limo and stuff, and me getting out and letting you in, and just seeing you in person for the first time. That's something I'm never gonna forget, obviously. And like I said, I know that I could have dug deeper and not been cliche with my answer, but it was just, I don't know. It was something I'll never forget. And every moment I've shared with you since then has been nothing short of amazing. And even with the ups and the downs, I love you very much. And there's too many memories for me to start and then finish. There's just so much. We've done so much. We've literally seen a whole bunch of the world together. We've literally done so much. And I can't say we've done it all because there's still so much for us to do, you know?
Yeah. I agree. And I love you so much. And we do have so many amazing memories. I remember when you kissed me for the first time that night.
Yeah.
We turn off all the lights and we're going to bed. And we're cuddled in bed, and then he kisses me and he's like, oh, I've been waiting all night to do that. Just the biggest breath, weight off his shoulders. It was so cute, and I just remember giggling, and then we just both passed out.
I feel I was so much more nervous than you too, just in general.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty fucking nervous.
I was nervous isn't even the word. I was fucking shook.
Yeah, you might have been a little bit more nervous than me, but I was really nervous.
No, I was in retrospect now, looking at the situation and knowing you so well now, I wouldn't have been able to tell at that moment how nervous you were.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, that you're the biggest part of my life, and I know you so well now. I can see now to think back at those moments of things you were doing that showed that you were nervous, but I just didn't pick up on it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I think because instantly I felt comfortable with you because you were just the person I'd been talking to for the last 6 months.
And so were you. 100%.
Even at the show and stuff, it's not you put on this act and wanted to be the
I probably did a
big
little bit.
Guy.
I mean, the limo was kind of overboard.
Well, no, but I mean personality wise, it's not
sure.
you were oh yeah, I'm fucking Mercules and
everyone
loves me. And,
but I did want to live up to the person that I was because I mean obviously I was being myself, but I felt there was little things that I had to do to
for sure.
put the sugar on top.
Of course, because you're the art on tour, on your own headlining tour, so you wanted to kind of sweep me off my feet by showing up in a limo and being not in a tour van or car at that point.
I remember, exactly. I remember having a straight up panic attack, waiting for the limo guy to show up. And then he showed up in a car, and then I was no, I ordered a limo. He showed up in a nice BMW. I'm man, I need to upgrade to this.
As if I would have been.
I know, not as if you would ever say anything about it. But then I remember being so anxious for it to show up, it showing up being a car and not the limo I ordered, and then me being kind of like frustrated because I'm like, now I have to deal with all this
Yeah.
extra time and anxiety. I just want to get this over with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you had this little button-up shirt on,
Yeah.
and like so
Oh my God.
cute.
Such a dork.
Yeah, it was cute.
Another one too that I really remember like very vividly is the first time that we went to the zoo in Australia.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
just,
that
like-
was a good time.
And just like watching you, it wasn't even that I had the like most amazing time. I did, don't get me wrong, but I loved watching you just see all those animals because you're such a huge animal person. And
Yeah.
like seeing a kangaroo for the first time and
Yeah.
just stuff like that. I don't know. Something about that day really stuck out to me too.
Yeah, I agree. That was a really good day. And when we were at Bondi Beach, that was a really
That
good
was
one
a really
too.
good one too,
Yeah.
for sure.
And also, your birthday when excuse me, when I surprised you with the Banff trip.
That was the best trip
That
ever.
was a really
How did we not
good
say that
time.
one already?
Yeah,
That
was
one
a
was the best.
really good time.
Another time where you got like drunk when you don't usually drink.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden we found ourselves like walking home and you had this cowboy hat on. We don't even
Yeah,
remember
don't
where
even
we got
know
it
where
from.
we got this cowboy hat from. I think I like have a weird little memory of like some people came up to us and they knew who you were, and it was a guy wearing the cowboy
Something
hat, and I was like, I
happened,
really
yeah.
like your hat, and he was
Yeah.
like, oh, here, you can have it, and I was like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I could be completely wrong. I just kind of have a
And
weird little
the
flashback.
cool thing about that is there's actually a vlog about that on YouTube that people
Yeah.
can go watch right now. Where you can see, you obviously can't see the whole night, but you can see parts of that trip.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that I named it I ate shark and kangaroo and all this stuff that we tried at that restaurant.
Yeah.
But you can literally look that up and like see moments of that trip.
Yeah, we we did the hot springs, we did the gondola, we did the
did
night
all the
out on the
things.
main street of Banff, we did the fondue. Yeah, we did all the things. We did all the like touristy things that you do in Banff, and it was a lot of fun. It was lots of
That was
fun.
so much
And I'm
fun.
pretty sure there's a little drunk clip of us in that vlog.
No, there is of us walking back. We see a deer,
Oh
remember?
yeah.
And you're wearing the hat, and you're like, "Where did this motherfucking deer come from?" Like all wasted.
And you were all like, babe, a deer. And I was like, oh, where did it come from? We were
Yeah.
just like,
Just
so,
wasting
yeah,
fast.
it was a good time.
And that was also the one that we saw. What's his name?
Spence.
Spence. Yeah.
Spence. What's your name again, man? Spence?
We met this guy named Spence who was a fan, and
Spencer.
and Spencer definitely had the highlight clip of the vlog where he's just wasted, and it's
No,
just this.
you were wasted.
No, he was
asking-
too, but we
yeah,
were all wasted, and it's just like
asking him his name a million times.
it's hard to explain. You got to go watch it, but it was definitely the most the funnest trip for sure, and it was awesome that we got to spend it just the two of us, and just like I still remember being surprised and being like, "Oh, we're going to Banff." Like, don't get me wrong, I was stoked, but once we got there, I was like, "This is the best trip ever."
Yeah, it was really good. It was really awesome. We had a really nice hotel, and yeah,
All the
we had a
things.
really good time. But yeah, we have many, many memories that we could sit here
Like
and
I
talk
said,
about.
loaded question.
Yeah, exactly. But I think those were some really good ones
Highlight
to
ones
touch
for
base
sure,
on. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's all our questions and confessions that we got for this time
For
around.
this episode, yeah.
Please continue to send in questions and confessions either to Coles or to High Places Instagram. Coles is a bit more busy, so
Yeah, it would probably make more sense to send it to the High Places Instagram. That's at High Places Podcast on Instagram. Slide in the DMs with your questions and confessions and things you want us to answer, or things you want to get off your chest that you don't want the whole world to know. We keep it anonymous every time. So
yes, please and thank you, because it's fun to kind of interact with you guys in this way. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks for coming on, babe.
of course, thank you for having me, babe.
Yeah, it was lots of fun, lots of good laughs, and trip down memory lane.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
Something classic, something special.